Hi everyone, my name is Steph, this is the Novelty Corner and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm here with my April TBR and it's a wild month coming up because I am co-hosting 2 readathons, I am hosting a read-along, and I don't quite know what I'm doing with myself yet. I do have my TBR books mostly for the readathons, and when I went to put together this list, I just had to go, I cannot do all of my little quirky ways of picking books. I'm not doing my Star Jar this month. I'm not doing my oldest KU, oldest Kindle book, etc. Just because there's going to be enough books on this TBR as it is. I will still be trying to read through a lot of those things. I also have to tackle some of my book bingo challenges, which I've sorely fallen behind on. I just have to remind myself that we are only in the 4th month of the year and I need to stop freaking myself out. And I'm going to say this now, and it might be famous last words, but next month I cannot have this many readathons going on. This is a lot of readathons. So a couple of things I do have to keep in here are my review copy books. So far I've only received 2 that I haven't yet read for various reasons, and these are from Fremantle Press, which is a press over in Western Australia, and I'm really grateful that they reached out and asked if I'd like to be on their mailing list, because of course I do. They sent me a picture book, Goodnight Sheep by Sally Barton and Anne-Cherie Dingham, and this looks absolutely adorable. And also from James Foley, a graphic novel, Dungzilla, which is now in colour. So I think this has previously been released and now it has a colour edition, and I'm looking forward to picking this up and reading it because my class love graphic novels, and the more graphic novels that I can put in their hands, the happier they are, the happier that I am. So those are my review copies so far. I should probably receive some things from Allen and Unwin, but I usually don't get them until about the end of the first week of the month for the following month, so we'll see. Next on the list are my Buzzwordathon prompts. This month has the same theme for the cover and for the title prompts. So it is to have an animal in the title or an animal on the cover. As I've said previously, when I have the same prompt or when I have books that fit both of the prompts, which these do, then what I will try and do is try and do 2 separate books just so that it is, you know, a proper reading vlog, because this will be a reading vlog that you get in the first 2 weeks of the month. So for the book that has an animal word in the title, I'm planning on reading Another Wolf's Mate by Rebecca Pratt. I picked this up at a book signing last year. It is a paranormal romance, so it fits with the Love in the Night readathon, although I will be reading it earlier than the Love in the Night readathon for reasons. But I'm excited to finally have the kick in the pants to pick this one up and read it. And then for the book with an animal on the cover, I'm planning on reading Unguarded by Jo Hogan, which is part of the Vino and Veritas series that I am reading as part of my series to read in 2025. I'm trying to fit all of these books in where I can, just to start making some progress on these series, because I will start to freak out. I think this one has a dog on the cover. I don't have the cover in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it has a dog. A couple of other books that I am going to put on this TBR. Normally I wouldn't put these here because they're just things that I tend to pick up and read as I go. But there are a couple of books that I was trying to get to at the end of March that I just didn't get to for various prompts in various other challenges that I'm doing. So I'm including them here because they are sort of the next priority reads that I will try and read in and around my readathon prompts. So the first one is The Favourites by Layne Fargo, which is for one of the 52 book club challenges, which I think is the prettiest cover on my TBR at the moment, because this cover is absolutely beautiful. It even has the skates on the cover. I have been meaning to read this for weeks, ever since it arrived. I was supposed to read it for another prompt, for another challenge, and I didn't get to it. I ended up having to read something else. So this is getting read in April. I also have to get caught up on one of the prompts for Izzy's 25 in 25 challenge, and for that I'm going to be reading Hello Stranger by Katherine Center. I can't tell you what the challenge prompt is because it's a paid perk of being one of Izzy's members. And also for a project that I'm doing for Kidlit Joy, I also need to read Leo and Rolf by Peter Carnavas, which is a middle grade fiction story. I don't know all that much about it. It's currently on a shortlist for a prize, and I'm reading through that list. So those are other priorities that are not related to anything else. And then for the Phoenix Chronicles read along, we are reading Age of Deception by T.A. White. This is the second book in the series. I'm filming on Saturday the 29th. The live show is tomorrow. This video is going up a couple of days later. I finished rereading the first book last week, and all I wanted to do was drop everything and read this book, but I had to make sure I didn't do it because I will mix up the details in my head. I was already mixing up the details on my reread of book 1. So I can't wait. I had so much fun rereading the first book, and I cannot wait to get to this one, which is a sci-fi romance with a woman who is finding out that her personal history might not quite be what she thinks it is, and it's opening up a whole new world of things to her. So that brings us to the readathons. The first one is the Love in the Night readathon, and initially I was trying to fit things to the scavenger hunt and to the bingo board, and I kind of just have to take a step away from that. My brain was trying to put things onto TBRs that I know I'm not going to read. So what I've done is I've picked out all of my physical paranormal romance books that I currently have sitting on my shelf unread. And then I was also looking at backfilling a few other bits and pieces that I want to try and read. And then I will just see what I cover off on challenges, etc. I am that person who backward plans for some readathons, and because the Love in the Night is only a week long and it's also supposed to be really chill and really fun as well, this is how we're doing it. I will be rereading the group book, which is Sing Me to Sleep by R.M. Virtues. I realized I have not annotated my physical copy of it. I've read this book a couple of times and I clearly have not annotated this version. I have annotated a version of it, which was a traveling book version, which I was completing for Brie a couple of years ago, but I haven't done my own because I don't think at the time I owned my own copy. So that's what we'll be doing this time around. I also have a physical copy of Zachary by Louisa Masters, which is a queer paranormal romance. I have read book 1. I haven't read book 2, which is Micah. I'll be getting that out on KU, reading Micah and then also reading Zachary. I picked up Zachary at a book signing, but the author didn't have a extra copy of the illustrated copy of Micah, so I'm picking that up at Rare. I'm going to be pre-ordering that. I also have A Time to Rise by Bauer, which apparently has vampires in it, so I'm going to add this to the TBR. And then I would also like to try and read at least one book in the Something Wicked series by Elisse, which is one of the series I have to read this year. The second book in the series that I'm up to is Villains by Necessity. If I can read more of that, I would like to. That's a paranormal romance set in Australia. Technically, Age of Deception by T.A. White also fits for the readathon. And if I have time, I will just go straight to my paranormal romance folder on my Kindle and pick out some things from there, which then brings me to my Tome Infinity and Beyond TBR. And for this one, there is a wonderful game board. I showed it in my announcement video, and you only have to pick 6 prompts. And you can double up on those prompts within the different areas. So there's 3 different areas, 2 prompts per area. You can double up prompts in area 1 together so that you only have to read 1 book to move into the second space, which then you can double up those prompts. But I am me, so I have picked 2 books for each section, giving me a total of 6. And I also have some backup books in case I decide that I want to read more sci-fi. So I'm going to show you the game board because I actually used the dice and I let it pick for me. There were a couple of exceptions that if I did roll them that I was going to re-roll, but they thankfully did not come up. I was actually quite happy with the rolls that I got. Let's roll the first one. So roll number 1 in the Solar Frontier was for number 5, which is Solar Flare, which was a warm coloured cover, so reds, yellows, etc. And for this, I am going to read A View from the Stars by Cixin Liu, which is a collection of short stories, I believe. I have read Cixin Liu before. I read The Three-Body Problem many, many years ago. May have broken my brain, but I have always been keen to go back and to try more of their writing. So this is a very red toned cover, so that fits the prompt. Then for my second roll in the Solar Frontier, I landed on 4, which was to read a book that is under 300 pages. And for this, I'm going to read Toward Eternity by Anton, which is a book that I picked up when I was spending all my vouchers. I picked it up entirely because of the cover, which is often what I do with my sci-fi books. I'm entirely a cover buyer when there's something really cool. But I've actually heard some really good things about it. And I've also heard that Anton is a really incredible speaker. There was an event that I didn't get to go to and I heard nothing but good things about the conversations that were had in that talk. So I'm really, really curious because this is set in the near future. There is a therapy that promises to eradicate cancer, and the way that they do it is by replacing those cells with android cells. And then those cells basically ensure that that person is essentially immortal because they're constantly replicating. I'm really curious to read it. Like, I'm super curious. I think it's going to be a really interesting read. All right, then we moved into the Nebular Expanse, and for my first roll, I rolled a 5 again. 5 must be my number in this readathon. And the prompt was to read a story with a brilliant or a unique protagonist, and for that, I'm going to go with the Age of Deception. It is a sci-fi book. It's also a sci-fi romance, but our main character is really an interesting female protagonist. She is incredibly capable. She is very much one step ahead of most people around her. And I just love reading about how she interprets the situations that she finds herself in, which she couldn't necessarily have predicted, but she's having to navigate constantly. So I'm going to make sure that this one is included in this readathon as well. Then I rolled a 6, and for this one I got the prompt to read a highly rated or highly recommended book. And for this one, I'm going to go to a book that has been on my Kindle for a very long time. It is probably what you would consider more of your traditional science fiction, big space opera kind of stories, and it is The Cruel Stars by John Birmingham. It has a 4.07 rating on Goodreads, which anything over 4 I tend to consider highly rated. Yeah, I'm going to give this one a shot. I think I bought it when it first came out, and then I never read it, which is par for the course with me. All right, then we moved into the Cosmic Rift. So this is the last section, and the first roll was 3, which is to read a book with a morally grey character or an anti-hero. And for this one, I'm going to read Ancestral Night by Elizabeth Bear. Again, this is a book that I bought on Kindle and then just never read it. I can't remember what it was about the synopsis that it made me think that the character or some of the characters in this were kind of morally grey, but I'm curious to kind of see. This one was really hard just because you don't always know if a character's going to be morally grey. So we're just going to keep my fingers crossed that that fits this prompt. And then my final roll was a 2. And for this one, I had to read a book that has a hidden truth or a mystery. And I'm so glad I got this prompt because I get to put The Floating Hotel by Grace Curtis on here, which I heard a lot of good things about. And this one, there is a bit of a mystery on a floating space hotel. I want to know. Also, I love this cover so much, and it's been sitting on my TBR for a long time. So I just want to read it. And now we are officially done. And of course, as soon as I say that, my camera blinks at me to tell me that I have been recording for too long. So we're going to wrap up this video. I will leave a list of all of the books that I talked about down below. And stay tuned. In the month, I'm going to be talking about, hopefully, the majority of these books. That is the plan. In the comments, I would love to know, what are you planning on reading in April? What's the one book that you really, really want to get to, or at least start in the next month? Feel free to let me know. Otherwise, just leave a book stack because this book stack is ridiculous. I'm not even going to try and hold it up. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, everyone.